For 60 years, dictators have ruled my island. I'm Cuban American. Hell, I'm proud to be Cuban American. But I've never even actually seen the island. Of course, my grandparents have told me stories about how great it was. But everybody tells me it's never gonna go back to what it once was. I personally think we can make a change. All we have to do is just rise up. For decades, there was little to no communication from the islands. But one summer day, Cuba called for help. Cuba's cry was heard across the world, and it sparked an international movement. The heart of it? Miami, Florida.
It's an incredibly emotional experience because obviously we're seeing the images coming out of Cuba, and that obviously gives us a lot of hope that there could possibly be freedom in the country of our parents' birth and our origin.
I hope that I can be with my people in freedom again.
Vamos a decir que el Gama lo va a buscar.
Lo que estamos pidiendo es libertad.
Una libertad para Cuba.
For weeks, crowds protested in front of the locally famous Cuban restaurant, S.O.S.
So it's a place where people come and congregate, where they come and protest, where they come and celebrate, as you've known, like in things like Castro's death and things like that. So it's just become kind of the Cuban city hall.
This is I'm most hopeful in any. For the first time in over 60 years that something can happen in Cuba. But because these demonstrations happen in about 45 different places at the same time, it was organic, it was spontaneous, and the people are shouting, they want freedom. Young people want freedom. I think it's a very important time in Cuban history, and we need to support the Cuban people in this hour when they are shouting that really what they want is the regime to leave.
We have made a lot of progress, and I think we are in a very unique opportunity to bring about real change in Cuba.
Tony Costa and the Foundation for Human Rights in Cuba has been collaborating with Cuban producer Emilio Estefan to create a song for the movement.
Accomplice is not about the music, it's about the images. I'm going to go worldwide and see the reality because we have internet now and we have, the phones and the people be able to see exactly what has been happening in Cuba over 62 years.
A mí lo que me sorprende ver que el exilio cubano, hay personas que tienen 90 años y todavía tienen la gana de seguir luchando por la libertad de nuestro país.
And everyone involved is doing their part to make a difference, even if it means going by boat for 90 miles just to show the people from Havana, Cuba, a sign of hope.
My plan is to show support for the Cuban people. Show them that they have a whole country behind them. They have not just the Cuban people, all over the world are behind freedom.
Lester, alongside other boaters, went from Key West into international waters into the territory of Havana, Cuba, while being protected by the Coast Guard. They ignited fireworks that could be seen from the island. But change isn't only in the hands of adults. Teenagers and even kids have a voice just as powerful as anyone else when it comes to this movement.
Well, I think it is extremely important for the youth to know what's happening, especially in Cuba right now. The youth is literally the future. Eventually, everyone is not going to be around, and the youth is going to be those who will be around the longest.
We We are dressed not in black, but in white, because we don't want the regime to let the death of these brave martyrs be something to mourn. Their lives will not be in vain. Today we walk in silence to remember and support the detained, missing, murdered, their families, and to denounce the deaths of Cuban youth that took the streets to scream for liberty.
The Students for a Free Cuba organized this walk in order to combat the regime and commemorate those who have lost their lives and suffered injustice in the island nation.
Today's event, we had organized a protest in Versailles, and after seeing how that turned out and after seeing the Cuban community and how they are together, we decided that it would be very significant for youth to have a presence.
And from silent protesters to Cuban American athletes, many young people have proven to have a voice in this movement.
It's very difficult to sit back knowing how good we have it here in the United States, knowing of the people that we love, the culture we love, the country that we love, fighting for their lives on the streets. But this is not something that just needs to be swept under the rug. The light still needs to be shined on this problem.
And campaigns like Cuba Decide have put hope back in the hearts of many Cubans during protests like the one Alvarez describes.
Yeah, so we work with Cuba Decide to empower the Cuban people in order to be able to do bottom-up change in Cuba, to mobilize the people, mobilize the streets so that Cuban citizens can take their future back into their own hands.
Cuba Decide, an organization dedicated to changing the Cuban political system and reinstating democracy on the island, has gotten thousands of Cuban citizens to join its campaign. These activists have gotten support from the European Parliament, the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, and many more. Their efforts are heard across the globe. But change is in the hands of the people.
I mean, look, I'm Cuban, born in Cuba.
Well, my parents are both Cuban.
Soy cubano. Hace 8 años estoy aquí.
I'm a Cuban American person.
Como todo cubano.
And with a Cuban heritage comes a love for music. Patria y Vida, Cuban musical group Gente de Zona's hit song, has become an anthem for this movement.
Cuando crecí un poquito, decían, ya viene llegando. Esa era la canción. Y ahora dicen Patria y Vida.
We want to keep the volume up. We want to make sure that the national and international community pays attention to what's happening in Cuba, so that hopefully the Cuban government is in a place where they can no longer fool people into believing that they're not a cruel regime. And that's hopefully going to promote change in Cuba quicker.
Estos días han sido muy dolorosos para todos, pero a la vez tenemos que sentirnos orgullosos, porque ya Cuba perdió el miedo. Pueden tener el control político, pero no el control del pueblo.
For generations, real change in Cuba seems like an elusive dream. Now, change could be on the horizon, and though freedom still seems like it's a million miles away, I won't give up. And neither will the millions of people around the world who've joined the fight to free my people from a government that has kept them prisoner for more than 60 years.